So in today's video, what I wanted to do was show you guys a couple of what I consider to be essential items for minivan camping. And I'm gonna start with number one. I'm super drenched and it's really hot out today. So I'm just trying to make sure that we stay hydrated and have a comfortable night tonight.
So it's 103 degrees outside and then it's 103 degrees inside.
I want to cook dinner, but I don't want to start a campfire. Since I don't want to start a campfire, I'm going to try to use one of my power stations to cook my food. The way I'm going to cook the ramens today is I'm going to use this ginormous OUPES 1800 portable power station. And I'm gonna boil some water with my kettle and then just let the ramens cook. It's a super hot day and I feel like having a super hot meal on a day like today that has water and salts and all other kinds of electrolytes in it will be probably one of the best meals for us on a day like today. Which one do you want? Do you want the spicy or the regular?
Regular.
You ready to eat some chow?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, I think this one's mine. Man, look at that. That's a hot pepper right there. You see that? Do you think I'll regret eating that tonight?
Maybe.
Maybe. This is a pack in, pack out site and there's no porta potties here. So the host for this property gave me some pretty specific instructions before I came. They told me to bring a porta potty with me. So I figured that since we were out here in the middle of nowhere, I'll just use one of these little portable toilets. I just bought this for about 30 bucks on Amazon. I pretty much never like to go number two in the van. If I absolutely have to, I usually carry a small plastic bag and it does the job, and that's only for emergency use. But in this case, I wanted to set this thing up. I figured why not make this my throne for the night. It has this disc. This is pretty easy to set up. This thing just pops out. On this side, it has these little lips. On the other side, it doesn't have those lips. Take this disc. I'm just gonna put it in here and then just put it down and push it in and lock it in place. This came with a trash bag, but if I do end up using it like I plan to, I'm gonna double bag it before I put it back in my van and take it with me. And then there we have it. Nice little throne. I don't normally ever plan to do number two in the minivan camper. If I do have to, it would be in the case of an emergency. But for today's trip, I do have my road dog with me and I want to make sure that he has a comfortable and safe place to do his business if he needs to do it. I mean, when you gotta go, you gotta go. Is that throne comfortable? Something I believe that is super important when you're camping in hot weather like this is having a cold source of drinking water. This thing right here is a mini fridge that runs off of my portable power station, and I run this mini fridge at around 36 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, keeping my drinks an ideal temperature for camping. If we didn't have a cold drink to cool us off every once in a while, then this trip could possibly become unbearable. Right now, it's still 103 degrees inside of the minivan, and having this 38 degree perfect temperature drink really helps keep our body temperatures cool. It just hit 101 degrees Fahrenheit inside and outside of the vehicle. So it's still brutally hot, and in a little bit when the sun starts to set, I'll start the air conditioner and hope that it can cool off the inside of the vehicle. So really for me, what it boils down to is having a mini fridge, having power for the mini fridge, and then having something to charge that power source. So for me, I feel like some of the most important things are a solar panel, a mini fridge, and a power station. This air conditioner is a luxury. It helps with the humidity. Right now, I'm drenched in sweat. I've been pretty much drenched in sweat since we stopped, but that thing will dry me up as soon as I start it. For me, power is a huge consideration because I try to run everything that I do in the minivan off of a renewable power supply. That's why I love to have a huge solar panel. The huge portable power stations are plug and play. And over the last 5 years that I've been doing this, the power stations have just gotten better and better. This one here is the OUPES 1100. It is the same exact model as the current OUPES 1200, but it only has an 1100 watt inverter. So it's the same exact model. The OUPES 1200 has a 1200 watt inverter. This one is about 1,000 watt hours of electricity. So this can run this mini fridge for several days with just this power station. Moving over to this OUPES 1800, this has a 1400, so 1,488 watt hour battery inside of it. This thing can run one of these refrigerators for several days without recharging. Right now, I don't have it plugged into anything. I'm gonna use it later as a backup power for the air conditioner when the air conditioner battery runs out of power. I also used this earlier to cook dinner, and I plan to use this to cook breakfast in the morning as well. The biggest issue I've had with these portable power stations is the inverters. The smaller ones, like a 500 watt portable power station, won't run a coffee maker, they won't really boil water, but these larger ones, for instance this OUPES 1800, will run almost every appliance that I own except for maybe my large scale air compressor. It is honestly unbelievable to me how much the technology on these power stations has improved over the last several years. So number one, they almost all have regulated 12 volt outlets now. That was a huge issue when these things first came out. They do have like a 12 to 16 volt battery inside, and the battery voltage would just go up and down as you charge them and drew power out of them. All these OUPES models are regulated 12 volt outlets. They put out basically about 12.1 volts, which is perfect for almost anything you're gonna plug into a DC outlet. Are you ready to get in the air conditioner?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good?
Yep.
Now I want to put my carpet out because I want my feet to be nice and cozy. It's still over 100 degrees.
Inside the car.
Inside the car. It's actually hotter in here. Do you know why it's hotter in here than it is outside?
Because there's no airflow.
There's no airflow, and the sun is like shining right on top of the van right now. Even though I tried to get it in the shade moved out of the way, didn't it?
Yeah.
All right, let's get this thing going.
There's shade all over there.
One thing that I did a little different from last week is I made this little cardboard cutout that I can use to seal up my window so I can keep the van sealed up when I sleep. Tonight, I don't have shore power, so I am gonna use the battery, and I'll probably end up using one of my power stations to keep the air conditioner running. The Zero Breeze does have these proprietary cables. I'm not a huge fan of these cables. Hopefully I don't end up losing this in the long run, but for now it should be fine. This is the drain plug for the Zero Breeze. I didn't highlight that in my last video for it, but it just plugs in right there, and then I'm gonna drain it into this milk crate right here. One thing I know about the Zero Breeze is it's not gonna make it ice cold in the minivan, but it's gonna keep the temperature a little more bearable, and it's also gonna prevent me from sweating all night long. Rocket mode. Full fan. Let me just pull this out. Are you feeling better now?
A lot better than outside.
So last week I posted a video of my wife and I doing a camping trip in 100 degrees Fahrenheit weather. It was basically about the same weather conditions that we have right now. And a lot of folks commented, hey, why don't you run your van to pre-cool the air, or why don't you just forego the air conditioner altogether and run your van all night long? And my answer to that is I do not run my van when I'm sleeping in it. I feel that it's very dangerous. If anything just happens to obstruct the exhaust and the carbon monoxide starts to build up in your vehicle, that could have catastrophic results. It is not something that I recommend, and I will pretty much never recommend it unless I had something like a Tesla that just ran off electricity and didn't produce any nauseous fumes as it was running. The other comment that I get is, hey, why don't you just put a carbon monoxide monitor in your vehicle? I trust it a little bit. I hope that it works when I need it to. And for that reason, I don't necessarily always believe that it will work when I need it to work. I keep this in here so that if an event occurs while I'm sleeping that is outside of my control, then this might give me the warning time that I need to escape the vehicle in a safe manner. There are a few more items that I pretty much never leave the house without. The first thing I use is this air compressor. I keep this with me just in case I get a flat tire. This will allow me to put enough air in it just to get out of wherever I'm parked at over the night. The next super useful thing that I have, which luckily I haven't had to use in a while with the minivan, you never know when you're gonna get stranded somewhere and you need jumper cables to get you out of that situation. Inside of my jumper cables, I keep the other component that I need with my air compressor, and that is one of these tire plug kits. These tire plug kits have saved me so many times. A tire plug like this can get you out of a bind in many situations. If you get like a nail or a screw, even in one case I got a paper clip stuck in one of my tires, you can pull that out and you can plug it with this kit. If the item was in the area where the tread of your tire is, then it's likely that if you repair it with something like this, it's done, it's fixed. You don't have to mess with it anymore, and that is awesome. If it's in the sidewall, these are really for only emergency use, and I would definitely replace the tire as soon as possible. This next item that I carry, some folks may think it's overkill as well, but just in case, I like to keep one of these little battery tenders with me. If I ever do have a dead battery and I don't have anybody close enough to give me a jump, I can hook this up to my power station, and then I can hook it from my power station to my vehicle starter battery. Even if I have no power, within a couple of hours, I will be able to charge the battery enough to start the vehicle to get out of whatever pickle I'm in. So I do have a couple of other things. While I'm at it, why don't I show you guys some of my items in use? I have this little Coleman stove. So this thing is super helpful. It is not my favorite stove, but the best thing about it is this is my cheapest stove. This thing at the time was like 20 bucks. I think they go for 30 or 40 right now. And one thing I really want to point out if you're going to use a stove like this is I never travel with the cartridge in the stove. And here's why. This thing goes in like this. It just pushes in. You put it down like that. And then right now it's off. This is considered off. So if I travel with it like that, there have been a few conditions. It moves to a certain extent at some angle and it will start leaking gas into the vehicle. So for that reason, whenever I'm not using it, I just pull it out. Not too crazy. All right, but if I do want to use it, now I have to watch out because the burner's on this side of me. I'm gonna take this and that locks that in place. So right now, that shouldn't move at all, right? Locked in place, shouldn't go anywhere, okay? So if I want to start it, I'm just going to turn it like that. It's on right now, you see? And I don't know if you guys can see that flame in there, but there's definitely a flame. It's not windy here, so this stove will cook a pot of water sufficiently within 5 to 10 minutes. If there's any kind of wind, then this thing is pretty much useless unless you make something to block the wind from it. When I'm done cooking, one thing I absolutely have to do is let this thing cool off for about an hour. If it's hot, I don't want it to melt the plastic container that it moves around in, and I don't want to burn my hand when I'm handling it. I just put this back in there, close it back up, and then put it back away. So there is a limited amount of space in the minivan camper, but I do try to keep a few chairs handy. I have the little stool right there, and then I have this almost unusable camp chair, but the reason I like it is it's super compact. I picked this up when I first got into camping several years ago at a REI. This thing, I want to say, is a pretty amazing camp chair. It almost kind of builds itself when you pull it out of the packaging. Everything's almost in place already. And then the last step is just to put the seat itself in position. This thing is also super handy because it has these little hooks built in. Just pull that up and over. And there we have a chair. Let's see. That's so comfortable.
I'm going in the van to get a candle because the mosquitoes are coming out and they're biting us. I'm gonna go get the candle and then light it.
The Citronella candle definitely has that kind of citrusy smell to it, but it's not overwhelming. So I'm actually a little surprised. I've never used one of these candles before, but I think it's doing what it's supposed to do.
This candle's people friendly and bug deadly.
Normally when I camp with my kids, I use this tent, and this 2-person tent is perfect when I have my kids with me, so that I can let my daughter sleep in the minivan and then my son and I will sleep in the tent. But today we're actually gonna set down this 3rd seat right here, and I'm gonna use my little air mattress so we can try to save the cold air from the air conditioner and keep us cool throughout the night. This is like a double wide mattress, so hopefully it'll sit perfectly in this little gap right here. I've got that, and then there's my spare blanket. What do we think? Is this enough space?
Yeah.
All right. All right, we got a second mattress in here. No camping trip of mine is complete without my high-speed cheetah print camo pillow. Now that the sun is starting to sweat, I'm gonna shut all the doors and conserve as much of that cold air as I can from the air conditioner. All right, buddy, we got some snacks. How you feeling in here? Are you hot?
I'm perfect. It's like 70 degrees in here. It's like 100 outside still.
The sun is almost set. It's about 9 o'clock at night. It feels like 70 in here. I think it's because of the lowered humidity. It's still 81 degrees inside and 88 degrees outside. The Zero Breeze air conditioner is still working for me. I'm not gonna complain about it because I'm not sweating, but it's definitely not freezing us out of this environment. Another great day in the books. I'm gonna shut the lights off here in a minute. He's gonna end up sleeping on the floor on the inflatable mattress, and I'm gonna sleep on the trusty old narrow twin mattress that I'm on right now. I've had this thing for about 5 years, no problems. I love sleeping on it, and tomorrow morning we'll make some breakfast before we hit the road.